Hiya, and welcome to this podcast, The Teen Whisperer, the podcast for mums of teenage girls navigating, the highs, those lows as well, and everything else in between. I'm Rach Friedley, and I am a coach and mentor specifically working with teenage girls and their mums to help you build stronger, more connected relationships with your daughter by understanding what's really going on beneath, the eye rolls and the slam doors in your face. And yeah, I get it. I am a mum just like you. And I struggled with the isolation, the feeling alone and the fear of judgment from everyone else around me. So yeah, 100% with you. So for the past few episodes, we've been diving into the powerful and sometimes harmful connection between productivity and self-worth. Today, we're focusing on how you can support your teenage daughter if she's stuck in that very same cycle. So if you've noticed she's putting way too much pressure on herself, whether it's with school, sports, or even her social life, this episode is just for you. We'll explore how to recognise the signs, start meaningful conversations, and share practical, physiology-based strategies to help her see her worth beyond what she achieves. So let's dive in. As mums, our intuition, our gut feeling, our internal self often tells us when something isn't right, so tune into it. This is your guide. But when it comes to recognizing if your teenager is caught in the productivity trap, there are some specific behaviors to look out for. Number 1, overworking. Does she spend hours perfecting assignments, stressing over extracurriculars, rubbing stuff out, using not copy decks, that's the wrong one, whatever it's called, the white the white stuff, or staying up late to meet her own impossible standards because she doesn't feel like it's right? Yeah. Fear of failure. Does she seem devastated by a teeny tiny smaller mistake or a less than perfect grade? If she thought she should get an A star and she only got an A, for an example, it's only 1 or 2 points down, I've got no idea, but it means a massive effect to your teenage daughter. Validation. Is she constantly seeking validation from everyone else around her except for herself? So she's constantly looking for approval from you, her teachers, her friends, her community to feel good about herself. And burnout symptoms. Does she often seem exhausted, overwhelmed, not hungry, not thirsty, just absolutely bombed out by life, disinterested in the stuff she used to love? Or is she irritable as hell? These signs aren't just emotional, they're physiological too. Stress affects the body in massive ways that we don't necessarily understand. When your daughter is stuck in the productivity trap, her body's fight or flight response is on overdrive. This means her heart rate is elevated, her muscles are tense, she's got pain in places she never thought possible. Her brain is hyper-focused on perceived threats all the frigging time. And she feels like she is failing herself or disappointing someone else. If this state then becomes chronic, it can lead to sleep issues like insomnia or not getting to sleep, going to sleep late and waking late, which is also part of the teenage brain. But headaches, digestive problems, as I've said before, not wanting to eat, not wanting to drink, not wanting to do things. Recognizing these signs is the first step to helping her shift out of this cycle. The more you can be aware of as her mum helps her to be aware of it too. So let's talk about what's happening in your daughter's body when she's feeling this pressure, this constant pressure to perform. When her brain perceives that threat like an upcoming exam or the fear of disappointing someone, it activates the amygdala. This is the part of the brain responsible for processing that fear. But our brains do not know the difference, do not recognize the difference between a perceived threat or an actual threat. And this then triggers a cascade of physiological responses. Her heart rate increases, her breathing becomes shallow and quick, and her body releases cortisol and adrenaline to help her to fight or run away. If she's constantly stuck in this state, It's like she's running a marathon with an empty tank that never ends. So that marathon is constantly running. So again, it's a bit like that hamster wheel that you were running in the last episode, that roundabout that you're stuck on that you constantly cannot get off. She is constantly running, but that carrot at the end never seems to get any closer. And that on that point, I will just say, as a parenting, I spoke to a parenting expert in the past with my daughter when she was younger, and she suggested I use the when then scenario, which is when you finish this, then you'll have that. But it's like that carrot at the end of that stick. It's way down there, and your teenager is never going to achieve that carrot. She's never going to get to that end where she is happy with her progress. She's never going to get to it. But helping her to understand this is key. You can easily explain to her your body is responding to stress because it thinks it's keeping you safe. It's our comfort zones. Our brains don't like us to get out of our comfort zone, even though it's not frigging comfortable. It's hell. But it doesn't like us to change. It doesn't like us to do things that excite us or scare us because it thinks it's scary and it's trying to keep us safe. But sometimes, as I say, it overreacts, or more often than not, it overreacts. But together we can help it calm down. So once you've recognised these signs, and once your teenage daughter is in a space to be able to have a conversation, the next step is opening up. And I know these talks can feel daunting, especially if your teen is already overwhelmed, which is why I've said wait until she feels comfortable. Don't try to speak to her while she's in overwhelm, because she's more likely to explode, scream blue murder at you, slam the door in your face and refuse to have anything to do with you. And that will not help anything. And if you exacerbate with her in that situation, then she's left feeling alone, confused, and what the hell is going on here? It was me that was struggling, and now my mum's letting rip at me. So we need to stay calm. So remember that she is angry at the situation she finds herself in. It has nothing to do with you, even though I know it does feel personal at times. So here are a few tips to approach conversation in a way that feels safe and supportive when she is calm. So start with empathy and observation. So saying something like, I've noticed you've been working really hard lately and seem a tad stressed. I just wanted to check in. How are you feeling, or what do you need? By shortening the sentence to what do you need allows her to focus on what's happening right now. How are you feeling? Sometimes our teenagers can't put their thoughts into words. So focusing on the needs is a lot better. So then she'll say she needs a hug, or she needs a hot chocolate, or she just needs to be on her own. And she connects to herself, which is massive. Number 2, validate those feelings. If she says, I feel like I can't mess up, reply with, that sounds really tough, and that sounds like a hell of a lot of pressure on you. How can I help? Again, takes her out of herself and allows her to go, oh, okay, mum's offering her help, but she doesn't want to fix it, in inverted commas. We need to give our daughters the autonomy to make their own decisions. So if you offer what you can do to help, you say to her, how can I help? It gives her that sense of self that she can make her own decisions. Number 3, share your own experiences. Be vulnerable. Say, I used to tie my self-worth to how much I did in a day, and it was exhausting. I was constantly running on empty. I don't want you to feel like that. You have to go through all that. So how can I help? Again, so simple, but it's a way of changing it around so she feels like she's not being judged. And number 4, ask reflective questions. Encourage her to think about what truly matters. Ask her what she loves most about her friends. Is it their grades, or is it who they are? That allows her to reframe it in her head. Because then you can say to her, okay, so you love your friends because of this, this and this, not their grades. So how can you help yourself? These questions help her to see that her worth is no way tied to her achievements, and that you're there to support her no matter what. So now let's get into some practical strategies. These tools are designed to help her reset not just her mindset, but also her body's stress response. So number one, give her a hug when you can see she is struggling, but before she's gone into overwhelm. Just giving her that hug allows you to regulate her heart rate to your heart rate. So your hearts are connecting and her heart can feel your heart and it will literally regulate down. So you both need to be calm at this stage and giving her that hug, giving her that warmth. It tells her she's being seen, she's been heard and she's been valued, which is massive. And on the bonus side of it, it helps to regulate her heart rate. So massive. Let her pull away when she's ready. Don't pull away beforehand because otherwise it will break that connection and she'll be left feeling lost and confused. Gratitude. Share a gratitude journal. Each evening, say to her 3 things that you're proud of that she did today. And show her, or proud of that she was today. So she helped that person on the street, or she helped you with the shopping, or she was kind to somebody, or she took time for herself when she was tired. It allows her to reframe those thoughts about herself. It also shifts her focus from doing to being. Encourage her, movement for stress relief. Encourage her to move her body in ways that feel good, whether it's dancing to your favourite track, whether it's doing some stretching, or whether it's taking a walk outside in nature. Movement helps release those built up tensions and boost those feel good hormones like serotonin. Number 4, reframe that failure, helping her to see that mistakes are a way to grow. We only learn through mistakes. We don't learn through perfection. Mistakes mean you're trying, and trying is how we grow. Number 5, create space for rest. Encourage her to schedule time for activities that have no agenda. So reading for fun, painting, doing some drawing, or just hanging out. Let her know that rest isn't lazy. It's essential for recharging her mind and body. So finally, remember that one of the most powerful behaviours to help your teenager is to model those behaviours yourself, as we talked about last week. If she sees you being kind to yourself when you make a mistake, taking breaks without guilt and celebrating your efforts rather than your outcomes, she'll start to internalise those lessons. So here's a physiology first tip for you too. When you're feeling stressed or overwhelmed, try grounding yourself by focusing on the present moment. Do it with her. One simple exercise is the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 technique. Name 5 things you can see. Name 4 things you can touch. Name 3 things you can hear. Name 2 things you can smell, and name 1 thing you can taste. It takes you out of your nervous system, out of your fight or flight, and into a state of calm, making it easier for you to support your teen. So here's the massive takeaway for today. Your daughter's worth is not tied to her productivity, and neither is yours. By helping her break this cycle, you're not just supporting her mental health, you're setting her up with tools she can use for life. So this week, I encourage you to try one of the strategies we talked about today, whether it's starting a gratitude journal, having a reflective conversation, or modelling self-compassion. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love to hear from you. Reach out, text directly to me through your podcasting platform, or let me know how you're supporting your teenager. And if you found this episode helpful, please share it with another mum who might need to hear it. Remember, sharing is caring. And before we go, don't forget to check out my brand new membership, launching at the end of January. Check out the details below this podcast episode to sign up to my wait list, because remember, we are better together. So yeah, that's the end of this episode, but yeah, let's see what happens, and I'll speak to you again next week. Take care. Bye-bye.